Hello everyone, and this is Ivan with Internet Marketing Strategy Part 2. Today we are making the 7 key strategic decisions. Today you're going to learn how to devise your own strategy. As you remember, last time we talked about the strategic marketing process and we realized that that process consists of 6 steps: vision, situation analysis, objectives, strategies, which is number 4. And this is something that we are actually dealing today. And then you have implementation. And you have to implement, you have to put all your planning decisions into action. And finally, number 6, evaluation and control. That's where you evaluate whether or not you are making progress, whether or not you are achieving your vision, whether or not you are achieving your objectives. And if not, you need to revisit your vision, you need to do a situation analysis again, redefine your objectives, put in action new strategies and tactics, etc., etc. So this is really a continuous process. Marketing strategy is all about S, T, and P. That's very simple. You just need to remember, as you already remember 4 P's, you need to remember S, T, and P. So what is STP? Segmenting, targeting, and positioning. Your first step is really to segment your market, to identify various parts of markets that have different needs, and then to satisfy those needs with the 4 P's. That's all marketing is about. So the first step is really to segment your market. Here is an example how an online accounting software company segmenting their market, and they decided that that would be the key criteria for their segmentation, whether or not people use their products just for at home and for family use, like accounting software, or maybe it's for small businesses, or for medium-sized businesses, or for large businesses. In some cases, the accounting software company might decide just to focus on one segment, like for example, medium-sized businesses or small-sized businesses. So you need to define your segments, and you need to understand the differences between those segments, and you need to satisfy those segments with the 4 P's. Segmenting can be done in many different ways, based on demographic criteria such as age, gender, and income, or maybe behavioral criteria, whether or not your customers are loyal, how often they use your products, etc., or psychographic criteria based on their attitudes. Do they love your brand, or maybe they're completely new, even almost ignorant about your brand? 4. Geographical targeting. Of course, in some countries, the customers are different than in maybe some other markets. So you have to be aware of those differences. And finally, there is a special new strategy or tactics. It's called retargeting, and it's specific to the web. What happens is on the web is that when people come to your website, normally only 2%, maximum 2%, take certain action on your website. 98% of people actually don't act, that they don't sign up for your e-newsletter, they don't buy your products, etc. So what happens with those 98%? Do we want to completely use them? Well, probably not. So retargeting is a strategy that actually targets those people that visited your website, they left your website, they bought nothing on your website, however, they are now being served certain ads through Google, for example, and they're being invited to come again on your website in the hopes that they will eventually buy your product and become your customers. So we are really targeting those 98% of people who did not take action at the first step, at the first encounter with your website. Targeting customers is one more time. It's once you understand your customers, your customer segment, you have to decide what 4 P's are going to be matching their needs in the best possible way. As you remember the 9 rules of marketing, we are trying to actually satisfy the needs of these customer segments through the optimum combination of the 4 P's. As we said, marketing strategy is all about S, T, and P, but we haven't explained the P, the positioning. So one way to understand the positioning of any brand is to use a tool called Perceptual Map. So what is a Perceptual Map? It's actually a 2-dimensional image showing the position of your brand and of your company or products relative to your competition, and also relative to various attributes. that you choose to analyze. For example, attribute 1 in this case is content on the site. Attribute 2 is interactivity of the website. Of course, you can choose any attributes like quality and price, for example, or any other 2 attributes. In this particular case, we are trying to analyze how interactive your website is and what kind of content does your website has. So basically, if you are, for example, competitor, say A or B, it looks like you have great content on your website, but in terms of interactivity, you could improve and go here. Competitor A, on the opposite, doesn't have really great content on the site, but they have huge interactivity, probably through social media or e-newsletter or any other type of interaction with your customers. So there are big opportunities to go here. This is a huge space, unoccupied. Sometimes we call it blue ocean strategy. So competitor A should, according to this perceptual map, consider going here. Perceptual maps, once again, help us establish our position relative to competition and help us make really important branding decisions. In terms of branding, we have really 4 different competitive approaches. According to Michael Porter, there are 4 generic competitive strategies. Some brands, for example, compete based on price and cost. This is in the grocery industries, for example, Walmart, the company that really tries to always emphasize that pricing component and competitiveness in terms of cost. Always the low price with Walmart. As opposed to Walmart, Safeway, for example, tries to differentiate their products in a certain way. For example, they try to stress the customer service, for example, number 1. They try to stress the convenience of their stores, etc., etc. So they really try to differentiate themselves, and Safeway will not compete just based on price. Number 3, focus. What would be the example of a company in the grocery market industry in North America for focus strategy, where maybe TNT, the retail chain that is specifically focused on Asian market demographics, or maybe the organic food, Whole Foods markets, the company that specializes in healthy and organic food choices, catering to one specific market segment. So that would be an example of a focus strategy. At the same time, we have a sort of combination. This green is actually a combination of blue and yellow, a combination of cost leadership and differentiation strategy. So what hybrid actually strategy is, it is a combination of trying to compete with a certain brand. So you have a powerful brand, you have excellent quality, yet you try to be under the price or very close to price of your main competitor. Example, well, in the grocery market industry, that would be Costco with excellent brands, excellent quality, right? But at lower cost or really at a competitive price level. Now in some other industries, for example, the example of cost leadership strategy in car industry could be maybe Kia. Then differentiation could be Mercedes. Focus strategy could be Ferrari or Tesla, electric cars. And hybrid strategy, in my opinion, that could be Lexus, the company that is trying to match the quality and the brand of Mercedes, yet at a lower cost. So those are the 4 competitive strategies. Now, another set of strategies is called SWOT strategy matrix. SWOT strategy matrix actually takes all of your strengths and weaknesses that you already, the analysis that you already have done through the situation analysis, and takes and examines your external factors like opportunities and threats. So you've already listed your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, and then you try to see how you can meet those opportunities, how you can actually leverage your opportunities with your strengths, and maybe what are the weaknesses that you need to fix or redesign your practices in order to take advantage of your opportunities. The first two strategies are max, in other words, how to maximize strengths and how to maximize opportunities. Aggressive strategies, number one, and number two, redesign strategies, where you try to minimize your weaknesses yet to maximize your opportunities. We have two more scenarios. One is when you are trying to meet certain threats with your strengths. How do you do that? Well, maybe you have some great strengths, but you have huge threats on the market. So the answer is to diversify. In other words, to use your strengths in new markets, in new places. And finally, weaknesses meeting your threats. That's where you need to be defensive. In other words, you have lots of weaknesses and at the same time you have lots of threats on the market. So you should consider how to maybe either liquidate or divest, sell parts of your business, etc., etc. This will become more clear when I show you the following example. I have created a scenario of your website, for example. Maybe you have effective, professionally done website. That's definitely a strength. And you sell innovative, high-end products. At the same time, you have certain problems, certain issues, internal weaknesses, such as you are not placed high on search engines. There is a lack of online marketing experience. Your product is expensive. You don't even have e-commerce capability on your site. In other words, you don't have a shopping basket. So you are not really completely ready. At the same time, you have some huge opportunities, like, for example, growing offline and online demand for your products, or growing online sales on international markets. But you have certain threats, emerging international competition with lower price products. So as you can see, some as realistic as possible scenario listing a couple of your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. So the big question is, what do you do with those? How can you actually meet your opportunities with your strengths? How do, for example, your weaknesses meet your threats? And what can you do? What are your 4 groups of strategies? Well, number one, if you really want to be aggressive, right? You want to take advantage of your excellent website and growing demand, then the strategy, or I should say the tactics here, is to advertise on Google. Advertise on Google locally and internationally and take advantage of those opportunities. Number 2, we are now trying to see what do we do about our weaknesses in order to leverage our opportunities. So here are 1, 2, 3 different groups of actually tactics that can help you with addressing your weaknesses and redesigning your business in order to take advantage of those opportunities. For example, you might want to optimize your website for search engines. You might want to build a shopping basket on your website, and you might want to hire experienced web marketing professionals. Number 3, diversify quadrant. What do you do when you have excellent strengths, you have great website, etc., yet you have lots of emerging international competition? Well, the answer is build an online brand, build trust, excuse me, build relationships with existing customers, maybe through e-newsletter marketing, where you actually try to remind them of your company, increase their interest in your products, offer them special incentives or rewards, try to make them more loyal. And finally, we are trying to match our weaknesses. We are trying to see how our weaknesses match with our threats and what we can do about them. We can be defensive, of course. Number 1, we might want to partner with some international suppliers, for example, in order to be much more competitive. As you can see, being competitive is really important at this stage. Also, we might want to outsource part of the web work internationally, again, in order to not only address our weakness of lack of online marketing experience, but also address a possible threat in terms of emerging international competition with lower priced products. So as you can see, there are 4 different groups of strategies and tactics. You might want to be aggressive, you might want to redesign your practices, you might want to diversify, or you might want to be defensive. But interestingly, you can even apply all four at the same time. In other words, you actually should think about all four at the same time. So you'll be aggressive in some ways, but also defensive in some other way. And now here's another look at your actually strategic choices. It's called this particular matrix, it's called product market strategy matrix. And it actually prompts you to think about your strategic choices in terms of your products and your markets. In other words, you might want to take your existing products to existing markets and just to employ so-called market penetration strategy, where you actually just sell more of your existing products to your existing customers. Some people call this strategy increasing stomach share. In other words, selling more, increasing the stomach share of your customers, selling more of existing products to existing customers. However, thanks to the internet, now you can sell your existing products to new markets. This is called market development strategy or market development strategies. Like, for example, now with the internet you can sell internationally. You can sell your products in Australia or maybe in Europe, not only in North America. One other possibility is to reinvent your products. Like, for example, Amazon, they used to sell books. Now they also sell e-books, electronic books, and they sell lots of them. Another example is Nike. They created a special website. It's called NikeID.com. And what they do over the internet, they sell Nike sport shoes one at a time, totally customized, one-on-one, just to yourself, for yourself. The shoes is completely customized in terms of even what logo, what your name might appear on the shoe, and you design your shoe. So it's really one-on-one. It's a completely new product, and it exists now thanks to the internet, NikeID.com. So we see that sometimes we take those new products and we just sell more of those products, new products, to existing customers, or again, we go and diversify completely. This is called diversification strategy. We sell those new products to some completely new markets. And there is one more set of strategic decisions. This one applies to revenue model strategies. In other words, where is the money going to come from? Maybe it's from direct sale of your products and services like Amazon, or through subscription. Companies like Netflix and SurveyMonkey and iContact, they charge on a monthly basis. And that's really sort of new internet revenue model. Advertising, for example, companies like Google and Metro Lyrics, they generate huge traffic on their websites, and then only later they leverage that traffic through ads on their website. And finally, number 4, commission-based companies like eBay, for example, they act as a middleman, and they get certain fee for every transaction. One other example is so-called referral marketing. Let's say, for example, that you have a website and you put an Amazon banner ad on your website. Some people come to your website, they click on Amazon link, they end up on Amazon website, and supposedly they buy Amazon product from Amazon. Amazon will actually then reimburse you just because you sent some people from your own website to Amazon. It's like a referral fee or like a finder's fee. This is called affiliate marketing or referral marketing, and your website is acting as a middleman, sending people to Amazon. So those are the 4 strategies. All 4 can work real well, but you have to make up your mind which one will work best in your particular case. So to recap the whole e-marketing strategy, we can actually use like only 10 letters or 10 words if you want. So long story short, we have to do our own SWOT analysis, situation analysis. We have to decide what our objectives are, and we have to do STP, in other words, segmenting, targeting, and positioning. And finally, once we decided what our target segment is and how to brand, then we actually offer 4 P's: product, price, and promotion and place, in order to satisfy our customers. And to actually wrap it up, there are 7 key strategic decisions. Once you make those 7 key strategic decisions, you actually have your own strategy in place. What are your market segments? Which segments do you want to target? What is your positioning strategy? Which of the 4 generic competitive strategies are you going to use? What are your SWOT strategies? What are your product market strategies? And what is your revenue model strategy? So those are the 7. I want to thank you for listening. We are going to continue with more tips and more help when it comes to online marketing research, search engine optimization, keyword advertising, and more. Thank you.